There is a money-making mechanism known only to the few, and they possess most of the world's wealth. These people are literally money magnets. They attract abundance of wealth easily, effortlessly, and frequently. What is really causing this phenomenon? We see economic paradoxes every day and often wonder why some people get wealthy with little effort, and some people never get wealthy even if they are hardworking and educated. Why do the rich get richer and the poor get poorer?
So the odds of your kids growing up to learn how to earn money is pretty slim. If you don't teach them, they probably won't get it because they're not going to get it in school.
Why don't we have financial education in our schools? If you read Conspiracy of the Rich, 1903, John D. Rockefeller took over the financial education system by creating the General Education Board. And since then, the rich have controlled what is taught at schools.
It's interesting that most people think about money all the time, and most people don't know very much about it. Sometimes they don't know anything.
It is said that in life, you become what you learn the most. If you study cooking, you will become a chef. If you learn medical science, you become a doctor. But what should you learn to become financially successful? What education can really help you become rich? There is only one answer if you want to become wealthy. Study money.
If you really value something, you'll study it. If you really don't value it. I had a gentleman just today come up to me and he says, I want to be financially well off. I said, how many books have you ever read on the topic? He goes, I've never read a book on it. I said, you don't really want that. You want the lifestyle, the fantasies that people have. And fantasies will create your nightmares. You have to care about wealth building enough to study it and to learn it, to master it. Warren Buffett, before he was 11 years old, already read all the books in the Omaha, Nebraska library on wealth building. Imagine how dedicated he was. No wonder he's wealthy as he is. So study it. When you really, really, really value something, you'll study it and you will learn about it.
Just as water exists in three forms, as ice, liquid, and vapor, money also exists in three forms, three dimensions. The one is the frozen state, our material possessions we have. The other is the liquid state of money. Most often we call it liquid cash, ready for conversion at any time. The third is the vapor or ethereal or the spiritual state, and the mental state of wealth. The great ideas we have, the knowledge and wisdom we possess, which can be transformed one day from the state of mental money to material wealth. Mental wealth can be that billion-dollar idea that you have. The spiritual dimension to wealth is that when you give money from an attitude of gratitude and the sense of abundance, it transforms you from the material state of greed to the state of infinite riches. When you give, the greed disappears along with the fear of losing money.
Perhaps the most powerful single factor in your financial success is your beliefs about yourself and money. We call this the law of belief. It says simply this: whatever you believe with feeling, emotion, intensity becomes your reality.
Psychologists say that we all have a conditioned subconscious mind. They are like running software for your brain. In simple terms, we all have a wealth operating system that is responsible for our thinking, actions, and habits. It is due to certain conditioning that you often get the results you're getting at the moment. Expecting a different result from the same cause is insanity. Instead, learn to apply new conditions and causes. The practice of new learning begins by unlearning what you've already misunderstood about money. Most of us are brought up with a lot of myths about money through our verbal programming.
Things like money doesn't grow on trees. It's selfish to want a lot of money. You have to have money to make money. You have to work hard to make a lot of money. Money is the root of all evil. You can't buy happiness. The more money you have, the more problems you have. Wealth brings pain and misery. Any of those sound familiar? And one of the worst ones is, I don't have what it takes to make a lot of money, or I can make money, but I can never hold on to it.
These are the common statements which create a negative programming to wealth, wrong wealth philosophies, myths that are created by people who could never make enough money and followed by generations thereafter. If you have these wealth opinions running in your mind, they subconsciously emit a vibration and a frequency very much contrary to your conscious intentions of making money.
We have unconscious beliefs about money. I can say the question, or even this statement, I can say this statement, money is the root of all, and everybody's going to say evil. Well, think about this. If you consciously sit there and say, I'm going to attract more money, I'm visualizing more money, I am now becoming wealthy, but unconsciously you think money is evil, you're not going to want it in your life. You're going to push it away. Or you allow a little bit to come into your life, and then you'll have an accident, you'll have a problem, there'll be a lawsuit, there'll be something to get rid of the money because unconsciously you think it's evil. So the first thing to do is make peace with money. Money's okay, money's neutral, money is nothing but some agreed upon means of exchange.
And what most of us don't realize is that we are all taught, I repeat, taught how to do money. And unfortunately, most of us were taught by people who either didn't have a lot of money, or they had a lot of emotional issues or fears or non-supportive beliefs around it. Their ways of thinking and being became our ways, and then we just run this program automatically, unconsciously. We don't even know why we make the choices we do, but we do see the result, and it's usually not what we want.
See, our mind is programmed. You're working with a program, I'm working with a program. Now, most people are working with a program that someone else built. They are the production of somebody else's habitual way of thinking. I'm going to suggest that you can rewrite the program. You can rewrite the program.
Well, the easiest way to do this change, to reprogram your subconscious or unconscious mind, is with affirmations. And you can do that by repeating written affirmations out loud or silently to yourself twice a day for about 5 to 10 minutes each time. Or you can listen to pre-recorded affirmations on CDs or MP3 files downloaded from the internet while your hands are busy but your mind is free. Affirmations like these.
I have the fundamental right to be wealthy. The universe is abundant, and as humans we have the right to inherit the abundance. I am born rich and possess all the resources to be wealthy and rich. For me, money is good, and I am committed to being wealthy. Money is good. It's wonderful to have lots of money. I am a money magnet. I have the mind of a billionaire. I have tremendous mental wealth. Money is good. Money makes me happy. Money is abundant. It is easy to acquire it. Money is the root of my philanthropy. I am kind. I am generous. I can use money to contribute more good to the world. Money is good. I love money, and money loves me back. I have more money than I can spend. Money comes to me easily, effortlessly, and frequently. Money comes to me easily, effortlessly, and frequently. Money comes to me easily, effortlessly, and frequently. I can afford anything. I can afford anything. I can afford anything. Practice these powerful affirmations every day. Your subconscious conditioning determines your thinking. Your thinking determines your decisions, and your decisions determine your action, which eventually determine your outcomes.
Have you ever heard of affirmation? Here's the problem with affirmations. Nothing wrong with them, but there is a problem. And the problem is you're doing them when you're conscious. You're relaxed. I am wealthy. I am healthy. That's fine. The challenge is that it's dripping from the conscious, the subconscious is down here. In between, it's something called the critical factor. It is like a guard at the gate, like a bouncer at a nightclub. And as it comes down, it bounces. Sometimes one will get in the nightclub. Sometimes one will slip in the party. And over time, it will work. The challenge is over time. Because pretty soon you do reverse affirmations. This isn't working. This isn't working. I've been doing this for 3 weeks. It's not working. I'm not seeing any changes. It's not working. It's not working. It's not working. Now you've just erased everything you did.
What is the one thing that makes the rich people rich? Rich people are financially literate, which means they know the difference between an asset and a liability in the first place. Robert Kiyosaki, author of the international bestseller Rich Dad, Poor Dad, writes, "Poor and middle class acquire liabilities, but they think they are assets. An asset is something that puts money in my pocket. A liability is something that puts money out of my pocket." I repeat, an asset is something that puts money in your pocket. A liability is something that puts money out of your pocket. According to Kiyosaki, most people struggle financially because they don't know the difference between an asset and a liability. The rich buy assets. The poor only have expenses. The middle class buys liabilities that they think are assets. Most often, the middle class tends to spend a lot of their income to make themselves look affluent and rich. All they do is just end up buying more liabilities. Sometimes, what is surprising about most of the rich are they don't really look rich. There is a popular saying that man is the richest whose pleasures are the cheapest. In order to understand wealth and assets, you must understand its various aspects. Lee Brower, the founder of an organization called Empowered Wealth, has developed 4 types of wealth quadrants.
When I say the word wealth, what do you think of? Most people think of money, stocks and bonds, real estate, things of this nature. So it's the things we'd find on our balance sheet, or what we call financial wealth or financial assets. Are there assets that you value more than your financial assets? So we have another quadrant that we call our core assets, which includes our family, which includes our health, which includes our values and beliefs, our spirituality, our unique ability. So the question I ask you is, would you trade your family for more of the financial? Would you trade your values for more of the financial? Would you trade your health for more of the financial? I don't think so. So we call those the core assets, or the core wealth that we have. And it kind of transcends everything else. But there's another category of wealth that we call our experience assets. Education is an experience asset. We wouldn't trade it for more money if we lost it altogether. Both the good and the bad experiences that we have are considered to be experience assets. But also things like our reputation, the networks that we have, the alliances that we make, the way we do things, the skills that we have, the travels that we make, and all of the wonderful things like that. Those are all experiences that are very, very valuable to us. And oftentimes we consider those to be even worth more than our financial assets. The fourth area, which we've found to be extremely powerful, is what we call our contribution assets. Some people like to call it our active gratitude assets, the way that we give back, the way that we give forward in terms of what we give back to society and the difference that we can make that way. It really is the glue that holds the others all together.
So you have understood that an asset is more than money, and no assets should sit idle. It is useful only if it is working for you. It has to be productive, accumulating, and must increase in value. Never make money sit idle. It gets bored someday and it will change hands. It surely does. To be financially literate, you must also know what liabilities are. There are primarily 2 types of liabilities: external liabilities and internal liabilities. External liabilities are like debts, obligations, mortgages, bank loans, and promissory notes. Internal liabilities are anger, small-mindedness, perfectionism, pettiness, fear, anxiety, hesitancy, bad reputation, laziness, procrastination, poor organization, and lack of discipline or motivation, etc. Most of us have this wrong idea that money making is a game that is played by the forces outside ourselves. Forces such as the economy, the stock market, interest rates, government policies, etc. But as you move along and experience the power of yourself, you will be surprised to discover that there is an inner game to wealth creation. Money making is just a mind game that you play with yourself.
Did you know that the way you think about money will determine how much of it you make, how much you accumulate, more than any other factor?
Now, each of us has a personal money blueprint already ingrained in our subconscious mind. And my friends, it is this blueprint, more than anything and everything else all combined, that will determine your financial life. You can know everything about marketing, everything about sales, everything about negotiations. You could be the best at your job, the best at your business. You could be a true expert in real estate or have the best stock system in the entire world. But if your subconscious money blueprint isn't preset for a high level of success, you will never, I repeat, never amass a large amount of money. And if by chance you do, you will somehow manage to lose it.
You know, we all have a financial set point. It's like the thermostat in your house, and it's set to a certain temperature. Too hot, and the air conditioner comes on, gets too cold, the heater comes on, keeping you within a degree or two of where you've set the thermostat. And your inner financial set point works the same way, keeping you in your financial comfort zone until you reset your financial thermostat.
Creating money is just like creating anything else in your life. You just got to observe a few rules. The most important norm is not being attached to it and not giving power more than your life. Remember and believe, money is your creation and it should not create you. You are the Shakespeare and money is Hamlet. Also know the difference between having and being. Money may make you feel powerful, but authentic power does not come from the acquisition of money, because without money, you're powerless. That is, having the wealth. Real wealth is in being. Believing that you're the abundant source to immense wealth. If you're having wealth, it can be taken away. But if you're being the wealth, it can't be taken away. Wallace D. Wattles, in his book, The Science of Getting Rich, writes, "Many people who order their lives rightly in all other ways are kept in poverty by their lack of gratitude. A sense of gratitude is the beginning to all riches." One of the primary laws of wealth, which the rich believe in, is the law of abundance. One of the primary laws of the poor believe it is the law of scarcity, which says there is not enough to go around for everyone.
Life is an optical illusion. That you have the choice, until this moment it might have been an unconscious choice, but you have the choice to see scarcity or to see abundance. For most of us, because of the programming and the people we hang around, the things that we read and listen to and so forth, we look around and we see scarcity. And there's lots of evidence for scarcity. But when you start to realize that we live in an abundant universe, there's lots of evidence for the abundance. So we live in this optical illusion. When we look out, we can start to go, okay, there's scarcity out there, or we look over here and we go, there's abundance out there, and we consciously make a choice. We make a choice to go in the direction of the abundance. We make a choice to see the abundance. We make a choice to express the abundance. Instead of saying there isn't enough, we start to realize there's more than enough. We may not know where it is or how to get to it, but there's more than enough there. And that idea alone will start to move us in that direction. Again, we live in this belief-driven universe, and the beliefs are filtering the reality we see.
Also, the people are entrapped by deficiency motivation. That is, you assess all of the things that are missing or deficient in your life, and then you set up a plan to repair all those deficiencies. Need more money, need more strength, need more power, need more beauty, more possessions, and so on. The list is endless. When you believe that when you get those things you will have more prosperity, you are mistaken. You can never experience prosperity from a mindset which is suffering from a disease of asking for more. Out of abundance he took abundance, and still abundance remained, says the Upanishads. When you manifest abundance, you receive abundance. One of the best ways of manifesting abundance is in the power of giving.
One of the best ways to tap into abundance is to start giving. And to give before you're ready to give. And I'm saying this because I had to learn this the hard way. Back when I'm struggling and I'm in poverty, but I'm going to every free lecture I can, and I'm reading books from the library, and I'm doing my best to work on myself, everybody's talking about giving. Give more and the universe will return. It'll spill over. It'll give you 10 times more. And I'm like, yeah, right. I'll give more when I've got more to give. And I would be stubborn like that until I realized, and again through a lot of the books and my self-exploration of beliefs, that as long as I held back, I was coming from that scarcity mindset. I had to. Why would I not give unless I am believing there isn't enough? There isn't enough for me, or there isn't enough in the universe, there isn't enough that it's going to come back. That I somehow thought that the abundance was a lie. And as long as I lived from that, guess what? I was in scarcity. I was broke. So when I started to, and reluctantly and skeptically, start to give more, at first a little bit of money, then I would give some other things that I had that were extra, whether it was books or some clothes or something like that. I would notice, first of all, I felt good, which was a big thing in itself, because then my energy starts going up. I can see more abundance in the world because I'm starting to practice abundance on a small level. But then the other thing that happens, and this is the punchline, it kind of wallops you, is that more comes in, more money comes in, more of whatever I was giving would come in. And as I further looked at this, I realized that the universe will give through the window you create by giving. So in other words, the more I give, the window to receive enlarges. If I only give a little bit, I've left a little tiny hole for the universe to squeak in a few things to me. But if I give more, more comes in. So giving leads to receiving, but you've got to start even when you're not ready to. You have to start before you're ready. You have to start giving before you're ready to give, to start receiving.
Another effective way of attracting abundant wealth is to think and feel abundant. You feel it first, and then it is created for you. Riches begin in your mind. You must realize that all those who've accumulated great fortunes first did a certain amount of dreaming, hoping, wishing, desiring, and planning before they acquired money. Work out a system within your mind that allows you to imagine yourself living a prosperous life with all the material things that are necessary. Send scarcity out of your mind and replace them with abundant thoughts of bountifulness, profit, and ease. There are a few exceptional habits. Usually the rich practice them as a way of life. The rich have 7 powerful financial habits. These habits not only make them acquire wealth, but also help them manage and keep their wealth. The first habit is the practice of paying yourself first.
Many years ago, a man named Klassen wrote a book called The Richest Man in Babylon. This book became a worldwide bestseller, sold millions and millions of copies in every language, and it has one basic principle in the book, which is not very large, which says, pay yourself first. Resolve today that you are going to save and invest at least 10% of your income throughout your working life. Take 10% of your income off the top of your paycheck each time you receive one, pay yourself first, and put it into a special account for financial accumulation.
And what we mean by pay yourself first is this. With every single dollar that comes into your household, every single dollar, you take a percentage off the top. Now, it's not the exact percentage that's important. What's important is that you do it with every single dollar that comes into your household, with every single peso, with every single euro, with every single pound, whatever the currency. You do it with every single one because it's the habit that's the most important. And by putting that money aside, it forces you to do 2 things. One, it forces you to get very, very creative on how you're going to pay your bills, and you do get creative. And number 2, most importantly, you are paying yourself and you are building your financial future. You're creating the money to invest in your future. That's the most important thing.
Now, pause for a moment and ask yourself this question. How often do you pay yourself? Less than 5 people in every 100 pay themselves. And if you were to ask the other 95 why they don't, they would probably tell you that by the time they pay everyone else, there is nothing left for them. The second habit is saving and investing. Why do some people earn 10 times more money in their lifetime than the rest of us? Do they work 10 times harder? Are they 10 times smarter? Of course not. Wealthy people love to save money by spending wisely, and they invest 10% of what they earn. It is not how much you make, it is how much you keep that matters.
Developing the lifelong habit of saving and investing your money is not easy. It requires tremendous determination and willpower. You have to set it down as a goal, you have to write it out, you have to make a plan, you have to work on it all the time. But once this practice locks in and becomes automatic, your financial success is virtually guaranteed.
The wealthy people see every penny and money as a seed, capable of becoming a money tree, They are successful in every penny they invest because they know the energy money has. Money attracts more money. They keep a part of the money for breeding purposes. But there is a Parkinson's law which says
that expenses rise to meet income. This means that no matter how much you earn, you tend to spend that much and a little bit more besides. As a result, you never get ahead and you never get out of debt. Your job is to break Parkinson's law.
How do you handle this? Now you need the third habit. The third habit is practicing frugality, becoming frugal. Being frugal means being very wise with your money and how you're managing it. In order to save, you must learn the art of spending.
The key for you is to practice frugality, frugality, frugality in all things. Be very careful with every penny, especially at the beginning of your working life. Question every expenditure. Delay or defer important buying decisions for at least a week, if not a month. The longer you put off making a buying decision, the better your decision will be and the better price you will get at that time.
Spending too much can wreak havoc with your financial goals. It keeps you in debt, prevents you from saving as much as you could, and turns your focus to more consumption rather than to wealth creation and accumulation. There is an old Russian saying, "Spending is quick and earning is long." Therefore, be very prudent and wise when it comes to spending. The fourth habit is looking after your business. Your business or the job you're holding is your number one priority in financial matters.
Well, the law of compensation is a law, and it's very exact. I want you to really pay attention to it because this law clearly states that the amount of money you earn is in direct ratio, it's in exact ratio to the need for what you do, your ability to do it, and the difficulty there is in replacing you. When you find a tremendous need and then you develop your ability to fill it, you've got to become very, very good at filling the need. Well, you've got to make up your mind you're going to get really good at this. You're going to become very good at it. And when you do, then you're very difficult to replace. Now, there's no such thing as an indispensable person, but some people are very difficult to replace. And if you make up your mind you're going to get really good at this, I guarantee you, you can earn a lot of money.
The answer to me is this is the most practical time in the history of time to be an entrepreneur. And like, if you even have 1% thought around doing it, do it. And not do it at the expense of anything other than your leisure. You're gonna join this at the expense of watching Breaking Bad. You're gonna do this at the expense of going and drinking a couple of craft beers with your buddies. Like, can't you give that up for a year to change your entire life? I think. You know what regret is? Regret is not making the money. Regret at 87 years old is laying, being sick at 87 years old, laying on your couch, and for some unknown reason, remembering watching this video and asking yourself, like, why didn't I start that hat company? That's bad. If you ever thought that you were an entrepreneur or salesman or a business person, or you wanted to make a product or sell something or do it on your own, this is the moment.
The fifth habit, take educated risks or calculated risks.
Now, there are basically 5 types of risk for you to consider. The first type is the simplest. It is the risk that is not yours to take. It's the decision that you do not have to make or the gamble that you do not have to engage in. Whenever you can delegate an act entailing uncertainty, you can reduce your risk of losing time and money and increase your likelihood of long-term success. Remember, there are certain risks that are not yours to take, so don't take them. The second type of risk is the risk that is unnecessary. You engage in an unnecessary risk when you act precipitously, without sufficient information, or without taking time to think it through carefully in advance. Many of the mistakes that you have made, and me for that matter, have occurred because you acted without thinking. That is, you acted without taking the time to minimize the risks involved. The third type of risk is the risk that you can afford to take. Calling on a new prospect, following up on a lead, and exploring a new opportunity all are risks that you can afford to take. In these cases, the cost of failure is very low, while the rewards of success can be very great. The fourth type of risk is the risk that you cannot afford to take. The consequences of making a mistake would be too enormous. You cannot afford to bet your whole company or your whole bankroll on a speculation of any kind. You cannot afford to commit all your resources to a single project and have your entire success or failure hinge on the outcome of that project. The fifth type of risk is the risk that you can't afford not to take. The downside may be costly, but the upside is so exciting that it's very much worth taking a chance to go after it. If you're working on a big prospect whose headquarters are a long way from your main office, it's certainly a risk to travel all the way there and back several times, but it's a risk you can't afford not to take. If the prospect or the business materializes, it can make a major difference to both you and your company. Remember, your ability to confidently take calculated risks in the direction of your goals will ultimately lead you toward success. So before you take a risk, always ask yourself the worst possible option question. What's the worst thing that can possibly happen if this risk doesn't work out? If you cannot afford the worst possible thing that could happen, don't do it in the first place.
The sixth habit is tithing. Tithing means giving away 1/10 of your income for a cause or charity. Money can be earned, grown, guarded, fought over, used well, used badly, won, lost, buried, invested, given away, brought back, exchanged, and divided up. But the nicest thing to do with it, surely, is to share it.
There are people who say, what do I do or what do I give if I don't have any money to give? I got to tell you, I practice a tough love from time to time when I get right in your face and I go, you're lying. You are lying. You're lying to me, but you're more importantly lying to yourself. Self-deception is all over the place. Self-sabotage is all over the place. You have money. You may want more money. You may desire more money. You may need more money, but you have some money. You have to take a small percentage of what you already have, even when it's uncomfortable, and you have to give it away. And I want to make sure I explain this. The rule of thumb is to give 10%. I say you give a percentage that feels comfortable for you. It should stretch you a little bit, but make sure it feels comfortable. You shouldn't be in debt. You don't want to go on the streets, but you probably have some money. We want to give away a little bit of it. Where do you give the money away? This is the second part of this whole notion. So the question is, where do you give your money away? And I say you stop and you ask yourself, where have you been inspired or nourished recently? Who or what inspired you is where you want to give that money, because you're reinforcing the spirituality that came to you through that person or thing or organization, whatever it happens to be. So you don't give mindlessly or automatically to some organization because they said to. You look inside your heart and say, what inspired me recently? Where was I nurtured recently? Where did I feel good about myself recently? And you give your 10% there. And you give when it feels uncomfortable. If, for example, you are totally penniless, which is hard to imagine, because even when I was homeless, I would manage to come up with $5. I'd manage to come up with something. And it's worth saying that when I come up with that $5, I gave away 50 cents. I started doing it then when you would think that $5 and that's all you've got, you better hold on to every penny. No, not when you start to come from the abundant mindset. If you're really living in this abundant reality and you realize that and you have $5, then that's the doorway to more money. You give 10% of that to wherever you're being inspired. There's nothing wrong with giving your service, your time, your energy, your labor to help a cause. But my precaution there is that it's very easy to deceive yourself in saying, I don't need to give any money because I helped build the house last week. I don't need to give any money because I gave that person a shirt. I don't need to give any money because I helped the neighbor wash a car. You're deceiving yourself. That does count. That is caring, that is loving, that is taking care of other people. But you need to give money to receive money from the abundance mindset reality.
Giving has its own rewards. Giving and receiving are two sides of the same coin. It is sowing and reaping, and that is good karma. Tithing follows the principle that the more you give, the more you receive. The seventh habit is an hour of power every day. The body needs food and exercise. The mind needs mental feeding and mental exercise. And the spirit needs the joy of good karma or spiritual exercises.
Engaging in daily self-improvement. This is critical in order to grow as an individual and to learn. The 88% of the self-made millionaires in my study engaged in 30 minutes or more of self-education reading. 54% focused on trying to improve their vocabulary. 86% said that they were interested in learning new things. And part of self-improvement is also health. You want to be healthy. The healthier you are, the more productive you'll be, and the more energy you'll have, the more money you'll make. And 76% of the wealthy in my study exercised 30 minutes or more every day aerobically, about 4 days a week.
An hour of power can stimulate you for success, inspire you to take action, and focus on completing things you have been procrastinating for a while. Bottom line, feel good and be inspired. Well, you've understood the 7 powerful habits of the rich. Now you can learn the 8 money skills of the rich. Learn how the rich make money. First, rich invent a money-making system. The rich breed cash cows. They make money work for them. The rich usually have several money-making schemes or a system. There are a few characteristics to ideal money-making system. Create multiple sources of income, or MSIs.
Now, where you are is what you're earning right now. That's your present income. The MSI is an additional income. It's not another job. It's not a better job. It's not even a job. It's a source of income. See, money is reward received for service rendered. Well, you can start sources of income. You can start them all over the world. You may say, well, how? Well, you don't have to know how. You just have to make a decision that you're going to do it. The how will come. Don't let the how trip you, okay? And once you get one going, then you get another one. And it may be in a related field right near where you are. See, I believe you can set up sources of income that are very closely attached to what you're already doing. I read a story one time by U.S. Anderson. It came in a book. It told a story about he and a friend of his were in a nightclub, and there was guys spinning plates on the end of bamboo poles. You've probably seen it happen on television. And this guy had 18 plates spinning on the end of bamboo poles. And when the bamboo pole was bending over and just about, and you think the plate's going to say, get that pole. You think he goes over and he gets it going again. When they left the club, he says to his friend, wasn't it amazing how well he spun those 18 plates? And his friend says, no, it was amazing what was amazing isn't how well he did it, but the fact that he did it at all. And Anderson said that started him thinking, how do you become an 18-plate spinner? He said, you learn to spin one plate. Learn to set up one MSI, and then 2. And maybe you'll become an 18-plate spinner yourself.
Secondly, the rich sell themselves. Selling is bedrock upon which every fortune is built. You can't make money without selling. Everybody sells. It may be a product, service, or entertainment, or all of it. Sell yourself and your abilities, skills, and attributes.
Sell. Sell and sell. Figure out, work, tinker, push, prod, promote, sell your product. Simple as that.
The key to any business is buy low and sell high. That is what we call profit. If you can't sell, then you still have not invented your money-making system, which is the first step. The third is the power of association. You become whom you hang out with. If you want to get rich, start associating with rich and successful people. Rich people believe in networking and the social concept of interdependency. It is researched and found that 20% of the average income of the rich comes from their close associations. The fourth is having mentors. There is a Chinese proverb that says, a single conversation across the table with a wise man is worth a month's study of books.
As a young kid, starting at probably about the age of 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, I really wanted to be rich. So I think number one is desire, and then you naturally seek your role models and teachers. And in my lifetime, I've had multiple rich dads. My rich dad was my best friend's father starting at the age of 9. And then today, I still seek mentors and wise men and wise women because that's how you get wiser, is by hanging out with smart people.
The fifth is to use the miraculous power of leverage. Archimedes said, "Give me a lever long enough and a place to stand, and I will move the entire earth." Leverage is the power to control a lot with just a little. It gives you the power to achieve more with less.
Since year 2000, the number of millionaires in our economy has doubled. The population hasn't doubled, but the number of millionaires has doubled since year 2000. The same thing is true for people who are worth 10 million or 100 million. It's even true for billionaires, right? People who are worth enormous. In other words, the high end of the market is doing extraordinarily well. Why? Because leverage is increasing, right? People have more ways to leverage their efforts using things like the internet and automation and robo-sourcing and outsourcing and all the other, even just financial leverage. People are finding ways to leverage their activities.
The sixth principle: find your unique ability, nurture it, and sell it. Once you can do something no one else can do, or as few people as is possible, you can pretty well name your price. Scarcity creates demand, and demand increases value. Everyone is unique and has a unique role in society to play. We make a living through giving and receiving. What you can uniquely contribute with your unique abilities determines your success.
Well, money is a means to an end. Too many people focus on the money and they don't realize that what they really want is what the money will bring them.
Yeah.
So what I tell people is, okay, say you won the lottery, or say you inherited money, say that you had some sort of abundance fall into your lap. What are you going to do with it? That's more important to look at, because somebody may say, well, I've always wanted to open my own restaurant. Now I will open my restaurant. Well, then forget about the money, focus on the restaurant. That's your dream. Somebody else might say, I've always wanted to write a children's book. Focus on the children's book, not on the money to get to the children's book. There's lots of ways to obtain what you want. Money is simply one of them. When we focus too much on money, we become blind to all the other possibilities that are around us.
The seventh is to create value. There is a law of income that states you will be paid in direct proportion to the value you deliver according to the marketplace.
The thing about money and the science of money is that you can have all the money you want and earn it honestly by contributing value to other people. By doing things for other people that are valuable, important, and help them get the results that they want and they will pay you for. This is the basis of money.
But you got to keep your focus totally on not getting rich, but on bringing great products and great service and a great value add proposition into the marketplace, so people value you, your company, your ideas, and your services more than they value their money. Then you collect some money and you get to invest in things like houses and cars and a company and employees.
The eighth is finding a way to serve. The greatest levels of contentment and self-satisfaction are experienced by those who found a way to serve others. In addition to the true inner joy that is created by serving others, it is a universal principle that you can't serve others without it coming back multiplied to you. Most of the successful people throughout history have identified a need in the marketplace and provided a solution for it. Yet, most of us have never asked what is needed or even what is possible. Remember, millionaires are those people who have understood problems and given solutions to it. Look for a need and fill it. Once you're aware of an idea, act upon it. If you don't act now, the only thing you can do is to react later to your idea that someone has already done it. Therefore, act now.
Remember that success is rare. Only one person in 100 becomes wealthy in the course of a lifetime. Only 5% achieve financial independence, where they have enough money so that they never have to worry about money again. This means that the odds against you are about 19 to 1 in terms of achieving financial success. The only way that you're going to achieve your financial goals is if you get really serious. To succeed, you must get serious about success. You must get busy, you must get active, you must get going, and remember, everything counts.
Money. All we need is the money. Money. It's all we need. All